back to MyWatches podcast, episode 9 of MyWatches podcast. As promised, we will not do the next one in too long of a break. And here we are again. And from the last episode, we got Tim back and Woody back again. Right, so Woody has become our permanent guest. So follow him. As mentioned as well, brilliant photographer, watch photographer. At watchaddict.wt. Right, I got it wrong that time. I said TW. Okay. Yeah, but it'll pop up here. Yeah. All right. First things first, as usual, wristwatch chat. Right. So to me, for me, what I have today is the focus. Come on. Tudor Black Bay GMT. If this camera somehow focus. There we go. Yes.
Very nice.
Right. So I was about to wear something else until Renee reminded me that this is a 1 year anniversary since I got it. I believe it was episode 2 or episode 3 on the previous podcast. And yep, so wearing this, still loving it. One of the watches that I wear the most. Fits many different occasions. Yes, people, that's controversial between the date issue. They didn't hand it to me. People complain about the height. Acceptable for me. It could be lower. Hopefully the next iteration will be as slim as the black base ceramic that I have. But yeah, looking forward to more Tudor releases. Alright, so Woody.
I have on me the new Seiko SPB259, the Ginza Alpinist, the limited edition that they released, 3,500 pieces worldwide. Apparently it's the hype watch at the moment, but for me the thing that really appealed to me is first it's links back to their very first sports watch, because this was the very first one that they did for mountaineering. Yes, I can't get an Explorer, so I decided I'm going to settle for Seiko. I also like the fact that it's really Seiko as well, because they did a special dial. And on top of that, they didn't charge more for this compared to the standard Alpinist. So for me, it was like a really good deal. So I jumped in, told the dealer, it's like, yes, I'm in. And this was even before it came to Malaysia. And I got lucky, because apparently after that, it's now really difficult to get. So yeah. Loving this new acquisition. Was not planned. I actually made the declaration as done. I'm done, and then this came out. So
well, we have a lot to talk about on what's done and what's considered done, right? Yeah.
But famous last words.
But this one is very worth it for the price.
Yeah.
I mean the details that you get.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right. So I think all of us can concur that when we saw it, it was like wow. Picture does not do it justice. It's those kind of watches, right? So it's very amazing. Yeah, for those who want it, good luck to you.
Yeah. I hear there's a premium for it now, but I'm not selling it.
Alright, so Renee.
Okay, I'm wearing a
Yeah.
Rolex Explorer 214 270 Mark II.
The one that those who watched last episode where we mentioned Renee was considering selling. So any buyers?
Yeah, it's still here. He still wants to sell, by the way.
I'm still thinking about it.
Yeah. So if your what that means is your offer has to be good enough. Yes. Right. All right, Tim. What do you have?
I have the Omega Seamaster 300M Pro,
which is also a recent purchase, right?
Which is also a recent and unplanned
purchase.
I just
so many unplanned
saw a listing on the MWG Facebook group.
Okay.
The price was actually much more expensive than I got it, 15,500 this price.
Alright.
Now I just throw 14 and I never thought he would.
You just
Just 14 flat.
You just said 14.
Oh wow.
It was like he said
I have to do it now.
I didn't expect it, so
Okay.
I just got it.
Alright.
The next day. Yeah.
Okay,
Very nice. But I mean, it's a piece that you have been eyeing for quite a while as well, right?
Yeah. And I remember, I think it was Tim also of the Watchbox saying that in that year he said this was one of the best watches to get.
But it's very nice.
Yeah, it's nice.
So congrats.
Really
But as you can see, this group we are very encouraging, right? one another to
Very encouraging and spending.
I think we should rename it to the Enablers.
Exactly. Right. So So I think before that, for those who know me and stuff, I sidetracked a bit. This wasn't planned. I just come to my mind. I'm engaged right now, so yes.
Right, congratulations.
And the story I want to talk about that is how I proposed to my current fiance. which is very relevant to this podcast because I, instead of a ring, I got her a watch, a Cartier Panther, and thank God it didn't backfire, right? so the reason for that is I personally am against diamond. Right, I don't know. I think diamond is market. No, I think it's market manipulation. Okay. Right, they tell you to buy something that is essentially a useless item. You can't do anything with it and so on. Right, so there's no purpose to it, and you pay a premium for it because the beers make it so that you need it, right, for whatever reason. So my goal was always to find someone that allows me to bypass that diamond route. Right. To me, it's like I always thinking like, oh, maybe at least just like a plain gold ring and everything, which I thought, well, but even better, my ideal scenario of a proposal is to get a reversal and engrave it like, "Will you marry me?" behind. Unfortunately, my fiance is not too into reversal. So fair enough. I mean, like you still have to get something that they want. So I landed with the Cartier Panther, and it was a success. And yeah.
Did you actually ask her before you got it?
No, I didn't. No, that's why.
How do you know she's okay?
No, I mean like it's like it's always hinting, right? It says like you don't really like diamonds, right? It's like, yeah. No, so eventually when I do propose,
so you kind of drop like reversal, you like reversal or not, and then she says.
So that's why I brought her to like pavilion and stuff like that. It's like, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And it's just like, it's okay. I mean, but when the way she look at it, you can see her lights up with Cartier, right? Probably like the design, the branding, and everything. So it's like, okay. I can't fulfill that reversal dream because I know I'm going to get a reversal as well. And fun fact, I get a reversal. More on that later, right? But yeah, so it's okay as long I can accept this route and she's happy and I don't have to get a diamond. So that's an interesting story, and it's, I would say, a rare case where people propose with a watch. So cool.
Well done, and you found the right person.
But to be honest, I was a bit terrified that it may backfire because
the stigma and the expectation of it.
Some people say, oh yeah, I don't really need diamonds and stuff, but deep down inside they actually want it. I'm afraid that situation will happen, but thank God it didn't, and yeah, the rest is history.
Maybe the snap.
Fingers crossed. We'll see. I'll buy you more watches. All right. Yeah. So one of the main topic that we want to talk about today is what's going on in the watch industry, particularly how are they impacted by the price hike, by exclusivity, by the increasing difficulties of getting watches like we see in the brands of Rolex, right? So I'll pass this on to Woody to better explain what he calls the snap. Right?
Alright, so that's a Avengers reference if you like. So any of you who have not watched Avengers, I'm sorry, but in the Avengers what happens is the main villain snaps his finger and half the world gets wiped out. And the reference I made is the fact that the only reason the show finished on a good note is because you had superheroes that turned the tide around and undid that snap, right? So what is the snap in the watch world? So first of all, you have a brand called Rolex, which you cannot get a single watch for, even on the standard catalog. You go in there, it's basically a furniture shop at the moment. It's quite ridiculous. But having said that, what that then does is because everybody is willing to pay premium for that, if you are their competitor, you are now going to feel like, why do I have to give discounts and reduce my brand value? I should be moving up market because people are paying over the odds for what are well executed industrially manufactured watches, which we are also doing to the same level of quality. So we cannot be seen worse off than them. And so therefore we need to start appreciating our brand more and raise our prices and stop allowing our ADs to give discounts, and also take a bit more control back from the ADs by setting up our own boutiques, so controlling the prices a bit more and all of that. And that's the right business decision because you want to maintain the brand value as much as you can. And at the same time, these brands can then offer you the watch anyway, so you're not, even if they give you a wait list, it's a real wait list, so most likely you're going to get it in a month, 2 months, 3 months, they'll honor it. And so that cascades down because now you've got a brand that cannot fulfill demand. you're paying all the odds for it. You've got other brands that want to make sure their brand value doesn't get deteriorated, so they are moving up market as well. And then you've got brands like, for example, so that example, the second one would be like Omega, you know, your likes of IWC and all that. They're moving their prices up on a yearly basis a lot more rapidly now, and discounts are here are also disappearing. And then what you then have is you have the likes of Grand Seiko and Seiko, right, who also know in the watch enthusiast world, we always say underrated, you know, good value for money. They also recognize that. So they are also moving their prices up. So every new release, you're seeing their prices slowly edging up. And more often than not, you know, discounts are there. You're not getting the same prices you did anymore. And that's all related. Because what's happening here is when we accept that Rolex is like that, the rest of the watch world, because if you put yourself in the executive's position of Omega, of any Richmond brand, of any Swatch brand, that is operating close to or wants to operate at the brand equity and quality level of Rolex, they're going to do the same thing because they're not going to see themselves as inferior. So that has all happened, and what it now means is, as long as that Rolex demand hype is there, whatever watch you're trying to get from other brands, if your mental memory of it is 30% discounts, 40% discounts, walk into any AD now and ask them for the most popular watch of that brand, and they will either tell you one of two things. One, I'm sorry, you have to put on a wait list, or we can't give you as much of a discount, or sometimes even no discount. And that's going to happen because that's just the market reaction, and that is why I say that's a snap, because we're not going back to the days of that anymore unless someone stops big bad old Thanos, right? And we don't have Avengers happening because all of us around the table agree, right, that given a chance, we'd buy a Rolex, right? And we try and buy it at a fair price as well. But the reality is none of us seem to be getting it just yet, because there are, for every one of us, there's 20 other people willing to pay all the odds for it. So there is no one brand that's breaking that trend, and therefore the snap has happened. There is no Avengers, so that results in an acceptance that prices are going to go up until maybe a major occurrence of some kind, but that's not happening anytime soon. So that's the snap, right?
So it's something that happens about 2 weeks ago, where it kickstarted a lot of conversation between our watch group and so on, which our WhatsApp group, right? Which happens post after I bought my fiance's Cartier, where I start inquiring surprises, right? So what they give you, I mean, what I'm trying to say is that when I went there, the store 2 weeks ago, it was 15% offered to me. And
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, I mean not 2 weeks when I bought the watch, right?
The Pantier.
Yeah, the Pantier. Then after, when I went back to the store, I was ready to purchase, they told me 13%. And I was negotiating hard. I would say, I'll buy 3 watch, because I have friends with me that was willing to make a purchase as well. They would not budge. Because they was like, what can I do to get 15? They said, I cannot give you 15. So they were dead set on doing that. And following by that, every other brands that I asked is following the same as well. JLC used to be 25% or so on. It's gone down to 18.
18, but you didn't get 18 right away, right?
Yeah, I didn't get 18 right away as well, right? Because anything that they didn't have in stock, which is a reduction in discount as well. So they offered me 15% because the watch was not in stock. So we all created this like, oh no shit, do I actually need to buy it now? If I do buy it later, I will get even less discount. And on top of that, I will be chasing the yearly price hike and everything. So we created a in a way, you can say this it's bad as well, because it further contributes to the increasing effect of this, right? But at the same time, I'm trying to protect my own financial spendings as well, because I know I will eventually buy these watches. So trying to optimize when is the best time for me to buy it, which Renee and I face this, and Renee and I happened to place an order for a watch 2 weeks ago, I believe. Yeah. So
owe me a commission or something.
Yeah, so it's like it's crazy how is this happening, and happening very, very rapidly, and it's scary to think what are the prices going to be like, not even 1 year, say 3 months, 6 months from now. So to me, that's like a really scary thought. So to me, that's like, while I have the capacity to do it, I'm just going to buy the watch that which I mentioned, the reversal. What reversal I will not say yet. You'll see in the next episode. But yeah, because I know I'm gonna buy a reversal regardless anyway. So I instead of delaying that purchase, I end up buying it. And Renee got another piece as well, which is actually ready today, but he decided to attend
I
this
don't wanna be
podcast.
late.
Yeah. So it's I would say it's a scary war ahead for watch collectors. So my advice is for those who are looking for a specific piece, if it's available in discount, if you have obviously spent responsibly,
that
right?
means, yes.
Yeah. If you can afford it, you have spare funds with it, and it does not impact your financials too much. My advice is, don't wait too long.
Yeah.
Get it, enjoy it, wear it, and don't think about it anymore. Right? Because as what Buddy mentioned, there's no Avengers here unless you can do something to stop the big R. Yeah, the things will just continue to get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, frankly, you need an event of some sort that just cools demand of watches all the way through, right? For you to get the prices back down again. But it's very unlikely because all of them are now very careful with marketing, supply and demand, using social media and all of that, right? So it increases the hype as well. So people are, and the ADs are wisening up to it as well. So they now start to observe which ones are hot sellers, which ones are not, and then they also price accordingly. So you just need to accept that it's all in the same. I think the fallacy that some people have is it's only a Rolex problem, and it doesn't affect all the other brands. But the truth is, this has happened, and as a result, it's just going to affect everything else until the next big villain comes into the play, or you get Avengers or a big event. I think the last time that happened was some major counterfeiting and all of that, and then they would have to try and manage stock for all the brands. But I think they've done amazingly well from a corporate standpoint to rein that in. So that makes it very, very difficult. So I think it would take another Apple Watch or something that just makes people go like, I don't want to get watches anymore. Then demand will cool down a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen anytime soon. It's probably gonna get worse, in fact.
So, but I think it's also good and bad, right? Because your used watch prices are also almost retaining its value. I mean, as long as your watch is like a well-known watch model.
Yeah.
So I think even if you buy now, you get assurance that you can still sell it at a decent price. You know? Like what you just ordered, I think you can still sell it. When you check Chrono 24, you check the used prices, it's still not far away from a brand new price.
Right.
But I think it depends on the brand, right?
I mean, it depends on the brand and the model itself.
Yeah.
Right? So you need to do your research as well.
I mean, you can't have it two ways, right? To me, it's like if you buy something that reduces in discounts and so on, chances are because there's demand. If there's demand, the prices will maintain. Likewise, the other way around, you have discounts. Chances are because there's no less demand, and the second-hand value is in line with that as well.
But I wonder, like, with that happening, right?
Yeah.
With the everything but Rolex starting to increase prices.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, would that also play an impact to the used market
Of course.
for these brands as well?
I think eventually it will. For now, there's still a lot of value in the second
Absolutely.
in the used market. But I think with all things, it's all related, right? The higher the retail price goes, the more closer anybody with second hand will want to bring it up higher as well. So you can still luck in on a good deal in the second hand market because people trade in the second hand market with a reference point, and the reference point is still old prices at the moment. But at some point, if it will just progressively move up, but slower than the retail, because retail will
So
go
that
high.
probably would mean the newer models that will be probably more affected because the
Yes.
older models,
Yeah.
the reference,
The reference price is kind of there.
lower,
Yeah, correct. So I think it all depends on transactions as well. So if you see there's still a lot of transactions operating at that level, you're still going to be okay. But I feel it's only a matter of time because if you and I just think about it, right? If we trade a watch now, we know what the prices are today, and we're not going to sell it at the old price anymore. Someone might try to lowball us, but we'll hold firm now compared to before because you know that they can't get it at the prices that we got it anymore. You see, so I think it's a slow burn, but it's eventually going to get there.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one lesson learned that for me at least, in terms of how I prioritize watches and stuff. Don't wait. I mean, like, I think this give you a very direct example is I'm very interested in betting the Pelagos, right? And then just 1 week ago, the Pelagos FXD, people call it Pelagos Fix because of the fixed lux. I'm not sure what it's called.
That's what it's called. Yeah, fixed,
Pelagos Fix.
That's the real reason why.
That's the real reason.
Okay, right. Or for what would you call it? The Pelagos fucked. Right? For whatever you take a guess, right? Yeah. So when that happens, because it was hype, David Beckham leaked it and everything, regular Pelagos got increased as well. So everything it's moving very, very like in line with social media, with like forums, with YouTube videos and everything. So that's why I say if there's something you want, don't sleep on it. Right? Don't.
As long as you can afford it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Discount may or may not be the same in the future.
Right.
So yeah, that's our experience, and that's where there was like a whole frantic chat last week on what's going on and what happened, and both of us got a watch. No regrets so far, at least. Still waiting to get our pieces, and we'll definitely share it across the next episode.
But you just went crazy this year, James.
You did kind of went crazy this year.
I did. I mean, that's why I did say it's my last pieces. I did say in the last episode that I'm done, right? Because because so where I first started my first luxury purchase is 2019. 2019, I got the Speedy, one watch for 1 year. That's why, yeah.
Watch, I think.
Yeah.
That was 2018.
Huh?
2018.
2018?
Sorry.
2018? Then I got because I got my date just in 2020.
No, man.
I got
Just is pre-pandemic.
No, I got it after first MCO.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so it's 2019. I got it 2019.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So
No, Harn got it 2018.
yeah, I got it 2019. Huh?
Oh, is it that far apart?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's the Chinese New Year 2019.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, so yeah, 2019 I got that, and I didn't get any other watches for so it's 1 year, one piece. And then second year I got the Datejust after first MCO in around May. Got that, I was like one piece done because it was double the price of the Speedy.
Yeah.
So it's like done. Then this happened. Right. So second piece for the year. Alright. After that, this is the third year. It just went crazy. Right. Because the first piece that I started was the Ming, I believe. Yeah, I think I got the Ming as the first piece. Hey, no, 2020 I paid a deposit for the Snoopy as well. Yeah, I paid a deposit for Snoopy as well. Oh damn. Ooh. Yeah, then 2020, 2021. The first thing I ordered was the Chrono.
Corona.
The Chrono, the Black Bay Chrono.
Oh, Black Bay
The
Chrono,
Panda.
okay.
Black Bay Chrono. I ordered that. The first thing when it came out, I was like straight went to the AD next day and placed an order. Then we got the Ming in the episode where first Rudy joined us.
Yes.
Then after that,
Came the
Chrono, because it's like one after another it came out. I was like, oh no, I really
Was
want
it
it.
Woody poisoned you?
No, I really talked about with them right in dinner. I always wanted the Chrono because I like the logo and everything. To me, the design is very nice.
Okay.
And then they released one, so it's like, and it's time limited. It's not. I don't even have to try. So it's like I have to get it, right? And then, so I would admit, right?
Half is the opposite.
I have to admit, I'm a FOMO buyer, right? I'm a FOMO. I'm not afraid that. So I have this mindset that alright, if I get it now, what is the worst can happen? I will resell it. I won't lose money. But if I didn't get it, I will lose opportunity. I will get regret, and I don't have the flexibility to decide what I want to do with it after seeing the watch. So if the watch is fairly popular enough, I tend to pull the trigger without thinking.
Right.
So for example, the Chrono,
Yeah.
right? The Black Bay Chrono. I know it's hype and everything, and I at least at that point, the brief moment I saw it, I kind of like it. I ordered it straight because what's the worst can happen, right? So I think that's the one good thing that happens in the Snap is that you can easily resell your watches without losing. So
especially if you're in tune to the ones that are really in demand, then you most
You
likely
can probably
won't
make a more profit out of
yeah,
it.
you can make a profit too. But
I mean, you can try it or wear it first,
Yes.
and see if you like it. If you don't like it, just sell it.
which is also an issue right now, because right now trying the watch has suddenly become a luxury, which is ridiculous, to be honest.
That's true.
Right. I had to actually so without the so-called connection or network I have, I wouldn't have be able to try certain Tudor watches before I'm able to buy it, because my dealer actually let me try other people's watches that they haven't collected, right? Which happened if I did not, for example, if I did not see the Black Bay ceramic in person, I would not have bought it. Right. So suddenly it's like people are just buying watches without looking at it. The Zenith Chronomaster Sport, for example. Even your Zenith, you didn't even see it in person, right?
I saw the one in leather strip.
Exactly. Not the bracelet one.
Not the bracelet.
Yeah. So
But I
you have an idea.
I really wanted a model.
Yeah.
When I was talking with you. I was waiting, and for someone to post it secondhand.
Right.
As long as though it's a one with a bracelet. I've been waiting since 2017.
Yeah.
Sorry, 2021. I never saw anyone sell it.
In fact, he's telling me I'm probably the only one with that in Malaysia.
Yeah, I was asking him to sell it.
Yeah, so it's an interesting time ahead. I don't know. To me, I'm a person that is okay waiting. Is okay, but I need to see the watch beforehand. I need.
Actually, that's a wise piece of advice.
Yeah.
Don't buy unseen, sight unseen. I've done it a few times. Usually, you're worse off than better off. Yeah, it's better to have seen it. Yeah.
Unless it's like, for example, the Ming and Chrono, which does not have a physical store, then that one no choice lah.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes, and we'll definitely revisit and update to this. Next
new
quarter.
watches coming soon as well.
Yeah. Okay, talking about new watches, right? So what has been released, right? So we'll talk about the Pelagos fix or fucked, right? Right. So what are you guys' thought on this? So Woody has a lot of things to say. If you read his post, you would have known it as well, right?
So let the other gents go first.
I think for a first-time buyer, or if it will be your only watch, everything that Woody's posted in his Instagram account, everything makes sense. You know? But for someone, if you have a major collection, I think it wouldn't really matter that much. It's quite a unique piece. Because all of your watches probably 99% will have spring bars, right? So this can be something unique and something probably a conversation started with other
Fair
friends.
enough. To me, I get the concept. I get the idea. I get that it's heavily created for the purpose of the Marine Nationale, right? To me, it's like fixed lock and stuff. So your spring bar doesn't get damaged, your spring bar doesn't get broken and everything like that. It's really for pure rough usage and so on, right? If you like it, you like it, I guess. There's very much preference at this point. But I think why there's so much negativity on it is because of expectation, right? A lot of expectation that the Pelagos will finally be reduced to at least a 40mm. That's what people want.
Or get thinner.
It is thinner, I guess. Yeah, it is thinner without your NATO and everything, right? So.
But it won't happen. He explained it won't happen, right?
Yeah. But Tim, what do you think? I mean, having seen it.
I haven't seen it in person, but I noticed the dial is actually quite different.
Yeah.
The color is also different.
Yeah.
But I actually like the new color, to be honest.
Okay,
I
the
actually
color
like
is
the
okay.
The color is actually better than the old.
I cannot accept the bezel.
Yeah,
but
so
the bezel it's a very clutter, I feel.
Yeah.
But the blue is actually really nice.
Yeah.
I mean, everything aside, the blue is really nice.
Fair enough.
But I haven't seen the watch in person.
Yeah, I don't think it's even in Malaysia yet.
Can't really comment.
No, there is people posting it. I asked for my dealer at least. He hasn't had it for some reason. He doesn't even have a display one or someone that ready to order. But the first order for my dealer at least comes in end November.
I see.
So
quite fast.
quite fast. And I really asked him that if you have one, I want to check it out in person.
Makes
Because
sense.
at least in pictures and in YouTube reviews and everything, so far it's a firm no for me based on that. Hopefully it stays there.
That is a tricky one.
Yeah, hopefully it stays there.
Yeah.
But at this point, my eyes still. I mean, my if I were to take a Pelagos, I would still go for the LHD at this point. And I really want the LHD before it's discontinued. And I deprioritize it. Hopefully, I don't make a mistake. So we'll see.
Very nice.
Yeah. So I think the way I look at it is like this. That watch, yes, you're absolutely right. It's really hyped up, and I think Tudor has mastered the art of Apple marketing. Because if you watch that video, right, they throw numbers at you and they tell you exactly what you need to hear to be comforted that it's the right thing for you, right? And of course, that's the whole David Beckham league and all that. So whoever's handling the marketing, brilliant job. I think they've done really well. I actually just feel that, first of all, for all of us out there that are hoping for that thinner, smaller, Black Bay 58 level Pelagos with a snowflake dial, snowflake hands and all of that, I hate to break it to you, but Tudor's never going to give it to you anytime soon because they know that's exactly what you want. And if they do that, these are the watches that are going to be affected. The blue Black Bay 58. The actual Pelagos. So whatever they were going to come up with was always going to be different enough that the existing blue Pelagos can still sell. The blue Black Bay 58 was still going to sell. And you can basically coexist, so there's no cannibalization. So they were always going to do things to make it different that you would still feel you have choices. And this won't be the choice, right? But at that same point, if you play on that same point, and I mean, they are absolutely right. On my post, I actually call it the effed up version of the Pelagos. But I say that because if you really think about it, yes, a fixed spring bar is more rugged. A Rolex isn't a fixed spring bar. One of the most rugged watches in the world. Omegas, there's no fixed spring bar there either. There is no world where you need a fixed spring bar to justify that it's rugged. All Marine National Tudors before this were spring bar watches. There was no reason for that either.
Which were used for actual diving.
Actual diving. So the only reason they've done that is to create a separation from the actual Pelagos and the Black Bay 58. And all I was doing was pointing that out. And my goodness, the beauty of the hype beast is when you meet the fanboys, oh wow, you know, like Tudor, hats off to you, you've formed your fan base, right? They will attack anybody who thinks otherwise. And all I was trying to tell them is factually, right? As a watch person, I enjoy being able to switch up the straps, you know, but a fixed spring bar means you're stuck with Zulu, NATOs, or whatever else that passes through. And that's a negative because each one of us knows that, you know, every now and then later you may want a tropic strap, a leather strap, or a rubber strap for that matter, right? And all of that works on the spring bar concept. Now you're stuck with NATOs. But people were actually very upset that I pointed out that point, that it's like, oh, it's different. It's because they designed it Marine National. I hate to break it to you, they're doing it not because the Marine National asked for it. It's because they had to create a product differentiation. But you do you. If you like what you see, you have a big collection, you want something different, please by all means go ahead. That's why the hobby is there. We all have different tastes. So
Exactly.
yeah.
So I think that's always a point that we try to, in a way, advocate as well, is that there's no right or wrong decision, right? You don't necessarily have to spend watches. You don't have to spend like 10,000, 20,000 for a Swiss watch to be considered as a watch collector. You could be a watch collector that enjoys collecting Seiko and everything. Everybody has their thing and everything. So be more open-minded, be acceptive, and acknowledge that everybody has their own taste and styles and preference. So there you go. Right. What are the new releases that happened?
I feel like this year, like for some reason, this year is just insane. The number of new releases compared to like any other year ever.
I feel like they pent up a lot of it because of the COVID year, right? And they held a lot of it back, but they had already had it in production, so I think they came out a lot of it. But I also think Seiko went crazy because of their 140th anniversary. They just went absolutely nuts. So many. You just lose track.
Even Seiko and then Grand Seiko as well.
I mean, the reason for that as well is the watch industry is booming right now because of COVID and the reason. I mean, because like people are not spending money on traveling, right? Yeah. So in a way, like the 10, 20, 30,000s that we usually spend on traveling, what they have right now to add to for enjoyment is to spend on luxury goods, which is watches is one of it. That's why it causes all of these increases of like prices in Rolex and Patek, like exponentially just within the COVID period.
Actually, thinking about that, right? If I reflect back, right, almost every major brand kind of launched a new kind of flagship, so to speak. IWC, the new Pilot.
Yes. The Pilot, yes.
Tudor, so many.
Chronos,
none as flagship, but so many pre-distinct ones.
Yeah.
Chronomaster Sport, and then Chronomaster for Zenith.
Chronomaster Sport was this year? It was quite a while ago, isn't it?
It was early this year.
This year was early this year. It's all this year.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my.
What else?
Omega got the new Seamaster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So going all of this right, only Rolex made incremental changes to their releases this year. If you think about it, there is nothing new in the Rolex.
But I think Rolex is every other year.
True. The only new one is really the Datejust, the pump dial, and the fluted dial. Yeah. If you think about it.
And it's Explorer 36.
Yeah.
But that's like it's a de-evolution. It's not even an evolution. Right.
You know the meme where people just like you did a little bit and people was like wow. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like just Rolex.
But
really
you I mean like if you're expecting more, you are having a wrong expectation.
Fair,
Rolex will not do anything.
In fact, by virtue that they released a whole new OP range with so many different colors and 36 Explorer, that's not very Rolex, to be honest. You know, that's like not them.
And that's something we're gonna point out, right? I think a few episodes back, I think Han and I was bashing Rolex for this because we call it like the Candy, Power Rangers, OP and stuff, and we find it hideous, right? At least like the red one, the yellow one, Rolex, which Renee likes.
Yes. Different.
So I don't know. We find it as like a little bit too much, but next thing you know, the prices for this OP just went skyrocket. It's crazy,
man.
Yeah, it's more expensive than or equal or more expensive than a sub now in the secondary market. The sub and sub date. Alright, it's crazy.
Especially the Tiffany.
Yeah, the Tiffany.
Well, the Tiffany is like the watch of the
So I don't know. All this right now, it's really all on hype only, and my. I always had the assumption that this bubble will burst. Eventually, people will recognize that paying 60,000 ringgit for an OP doesn't make sense. But now that they have
retail is 20, right?
Yes,
25.
3 times. Yeah. No, low 20, like 21, 22. Yeah, very low 20s. Right. And now look at it. I fear that the prices will not go down. I really fear that.
Because I don't see another watch from another brand that's going to challenge that from a brand reputation, the demand perspective as well.
If it just looks like you can have all the choice like Nomos, for example, but there's not much brand recognition in there as much as Rolex.
Alright, man. Yeah, but actually, like thinking from the last podcast and now, what other new watches have come? I know there were a few. There were like the Zenith, a really interesting collaboration piece. I think there was Panerai came up with something, right?
Panerai
came up with
40mm.
Yeah, 40mm.
40 mm. At least they increased the water resistance from 30 butters to 100.
Why no clear case bag?
Because of that controversy.
But to be fair, I mean like it's always a nice to have thing and you always look for it. But afterwards, how often do you look at it?
I think it's
I would
nice
look at it quite often.
Oh, but that brings me a new watch that came out was that the Grand Seiko Blue Stone Dial, right? And I think they actually put the price of that spring drive cheaper than the Snowflake, the Skyflake, and anything else.
The boutique edition.
The boutique edition.
Actually, that's really value for money.
I think that's because because it's an online boutique only. I think they're trying to push that agenda. E-com. So I think that's their flagship e-com model at the moment. But that was surprising because the retail of a Snowflake is $5,800 if I'm not mistaken, and I think the Skyflake goes for about the same. They basically outright announced $5,000 for this one, so I was actually quite surprised that they were doing something like that.
Yeah.
So I think that was
actually that stone face down I feel it's more beautiful than the Skyflake.
Ah, okay.
I like it, but Skyflake or Snowflake? Sorry, you're comparing.
Both lah.
Both.
To me, Snowflake
is different.
Yeah, Snowflake is different. Skyflake, yeah, I can see it, but yeah, Snowflake is a bit different. Yeah.
Snowflake is texture.
I mean, it has as well. The blue one has as well.
But it's different, right?
I guess.
The feeling is different.
Fair enough.
And I think the reason is because the Snowflake encapsulates everything the name says, right? From the titanium lightness to the fact that it's spring drive and all of that. So it's become their poster child for so long already.
Yeah, true. We didn't mention about the ice lake.
Right, the ice lake. Yeah.
Umiwatari.
Yeah, Umiwatari. I don't even know what it's supposed to mean anymore. It's like the potable water and ice meets. It's so Grand Seiko. Yeah. I mean, seeing it in person is quite impressive, but it's
pricey.
It's pricey for what it is.
It's
35, 30, I think it's like 34 before any kind of discount. And it doesn't have any additional power reserve, although it is slimmer. The power reserve does move to the back.
It's hand wound.
Yeah, so you really gotta like it to want to pay that amount. But to those who do, I think it's a very nice looking watch.
Yeah, take price out of the equation. It's a nice watch. Yeah,
it's a well executed watch. Yeah.
And then the limited edition, the Grand Seiko 5 days power reserve one, the 40,000 plus. The blue one. Yeah.
So since we're talking about that, talk about the Four Seasons, because there was some controversy about it, right?
Yes.
It was initially only US based, and then suddenly they make it worldwide. And then everyone was saying like the exclusivity of it being a US edition only because people in Asia and Australia, the one that get it, were willing to pay premium, right? Because you can't get it anywhere else.
But having said that, I think you were the one that pointed out you could actually have bought the US edition from online stores like Hodinki anyway, and it wasn't just limited to US stores. So I don't want to be an apologist for Grand Seiko, but they never really called it a limited edition to begin with, and there was never.
It was just a US edition.
It was a US edition, which US retailers were actually shipping globally as well.
So I think
fair.
Yeah, I think the
happiness, right?
Yeah, exactly. We should want to bring up. I think the probably the sensitivity here is where the utilization of the word exclusivity, right? It could be. You mentioned if it's US edition, that is fine, which is applicable to be sold for US retailers only. That is okay. But I think the word exclusivity robs people off somewhere else because exclusivity means that
expectations lah.
Yeah, expectations or that. But it could be it's exclusive for US retailer at that point, which could be interpreted differently and so on. So it's very tricky when it comes to things like this.
But having said that, I do have to say that Seiko and Grand Seiko do tend to rub people off the wrong way when it comes to limited editions and all of that anyway. Because they do one, like this year, for example, and then you will find the common edition next year for like a quarter of the price. They don't do that too well. So I think if anybody's out there trying, even for this watch that I'm wearing, right, I almost feel that you will see it in different color variations in 2022. So if you missed out on this one, don't fret about it. You're probably gonna get like a black or a grey or something like that next year with exactly the same thing. Because I think if they made the mold, right, they might as well do more of it already.
Fair enough. So in terms of that, I think we briefly talk about the Speedmaster, what they call chronoscope as well.
Yes.
But then without you,
Actually, that's really nice.
Design-wise, it's very nice, but I think it's a bit big. It's a 43mm.
And I feel, I think we mentioned it the last time around as well. I felt that it tried to bring the old design back, right? But it became too clinical as a result as well. So it looks like it didn't modernize so well. I'd say unlike the one that you bought, the Zenith, right? They kept the right design elements and then modernized it a little bit. I think Omega did it really well for the Speedmaster because they introduced a step dial, and then that clinical feeling about it didn't affect it so much because it's been so unchanged for so long. But the chronoscope, I felt that the original kind of feels like it needs to be less clinical to carry that look a little bit more. But I do hear that the bronze one was the one that looks really nice.
Really?
Okay. Yeah, the one is the one that looks the best, but I have my thing.
Have you tried it in person?
Actually, honestly, no. I've not walked into the Milo boutique for a bit. Yeah.
I'm not sure if there's any other thing that I can think of in terms of releases. But I think the next topic I want to talk about is
how about independent? Because I think there were pretty good ones, right? Like Baltic, for example.
Oh, that's true.
Or the dress watch.
The
one.
dress
Yeah.
watch. So
the three
really
collections.
nice,
Actually, especially the Salmon.
It's it's nice, but to me one thing is I think it's maybe a bit pricey for what it is.
How much is it actually?
I can't remember, but I remember that's the first impression I have because the movement and everything was not that impressive.
Yeah.
And it's quite pricey.
I think it was about $1,000 or something.
So it's about 4,500.
Yeah, but it's a movement that it looks more impressive than it really
because
is.
of the micro water.
Yeah, micro water, which is a rare thing. So I think they did really well to get the right ingredients in, and I think Baltic has found the right recipe already. So they're doing all the right moves. So it's just a case that I just hope they don't become another name to me.
Fair enough.
But price points a bit different though.
Yeah, that's true. But they are hitting all the right notes. If you think about it, they are on. I think were they even on MyWatches and all that?
Yeah.
They are putting all the right moves right now, and so I think as long as they stay somewhat grounded, it'll be nice for the enthusiasts.
Fair.
So yeah, I think that's one of them.
To me, the look of it is really nice. Like for me, as a guy that does not like numerals, I think that is actually pretty nice.
Brigade style numerals.
It's pretty cool, right? And there's another thing I remember as well. The bunch of only pink watches available. That's pretty cool initiative for charity, I believe. Charity. And then like Zenith and a whole bunch of people created a pink variant of it, which is really, really cool, I think.
Well, I guess if we talk about that, then we have to talk about MyWatch. Which one's your favorite from this year's? Too many.
Not really. I don't think I have any, to be honest. For me, like Tudor previously did the black one, and then they did the GMT black as well. To me, it's like so.
I don't know. I felt like the one that really caught my eye was still the Epsiode.
Fair enough.
That was really, really cool.
Yeah, I actually feel like that's been a while back, so I don't really have a recollection which one appealed to me anymore.
I still can't remember because I know I couldn't afford it. I didn't remember.
Fair enough.
It's nice to see.
Actually, on that point, I'm not going to cut over the topic, but the GPHG.
Yeah.
For this year, the GPHG for this year. I mean, what did you guys think about the winners of this year?
But can we discuss first, how do brands enter GPHG?
Through nomination, I believe. I'm not
I
sure.
think I read that they need to register and place some amount to nominate.
Place an amount?
Yeah, per watch that they want to nominate.
Wow.
I think they actually have to contribute to something to be part of it.
I read that like Rolex, Omega, and some major brands didn't join the GPHG.
They don't need it.
Yeah.
They don't need it. Yeah. Which is, I think that's something interesting as well because of the GPHD, the Zenith Chronomaster Sport. Immediately, not joking. One day afterwards, it got a reduction in discount because it won the best.
When I went to Swiss Watch Gallery, they said this one watch won the GPHG award recently, so we don't have any stock. In case you're asking, I even haven't asked anything.
But that's for the sport, right?
That's for the sport.
To me, like the whole watch thing has become like a stock market, right? So because I was telling them, it's like, I received an offer for 20% for the Chronomaster Sport. I was interested in it, and the greedy person in me was waiting for 25%. Because to me, it's like, it's a Zenith. There isn't any demand to it, right? Eventually, it will hit the max. It will hit the max cap along with all the other Zenith watches of 25%. Next thing you know, put it this way, I didn't get it.
It's gone and waitlisting, right?
Waitlisting, and there's people that offer no discounts and people that offer maximum of 15%. And so to me, I sort of given up on the watch already, to be honest.
I felt the GPHD this year felt like a popularity contest because I felt in the past few years it felt more like the Academy Awards, where you find very eclectic pieces that win, right? But this year it was all the popular ones. So it was like the Zenith Chronomaster Sport, it was the Grand Seiko White Birch, it was like all of these. I think there was one of the micro brands popular ones also got an award. I can't remember which one it was.
But mostly mainstream, right?
It was very mainstream this year, so it was very odd. I'm used to awards where you get less mainstream selections winning, but this was the GPHG that felt so mainstream. It was more like, if you look at the box office, right, you take the number one box office of each one, right, that's what came out this year. So it was like, and I think to your point about now that you bring up the fact that they have to contribute to get something, it almost dilutes the value of that.
Yeah. Sure.
Feels like it's another expensive marketing channel.
It probably is. Yeah, it probably is.
I think you were the one that mentioned, is it possible that the brands themselves buy the auction watches?
Yes,
right?
yes. which was the Omega, right? The Omega Speedmaster, the Tropic Dial, the Patina Tropic Dial that got sold for, I don't know, 3 million. Yeah. Which was like crazy for it, which was what they value it at, like 500,000-600,000 Swiss franc or something. I can't remember the currency, but I think it's Swiss franc, and it got sold for 3.1 million. Which is insane. Unheard of for Omega. So I was wondering, it's like,
did Omega spend the money?
It's a
no
great
one's stopping them to do that, right?
And if they do, it's brilliant marketing. So it's, I don't know, but taking the price out of it, that brown dial is very, very nice though. I love it. Right, it's it's interesting pop to a regular Speedmaster.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah, and to be honest, I was quite surprised with the black base ceramic winning the GPHD as well, because
that's another one.
It's not that hype. I mean, the most hyped Tudor watch is the Panda, and the ceramic one. So it's like, okay, not bad. It wasn't as hype as any other watches.
Yeah, but that one I felt was slightly different. At least that one didn't feel very mainstream a selection. There were quite a lot of others that felt more mainstream.
Yeah, for sure. The Fulani and
Fulham Murray, yes, the Fulham Murray also got that. I mean, the thing is, I nearly bought one myself, but when you see that, when you see Chronomaster Sport, you see the White Birch, and they're all great watches. It's just that normally you are giving accolades to something that isn't hyped in the commercial as well, because it sort of balances out. But this time around, maybe it's just a coincidence that it all converges. But it's quite rare that it converges. It's just like going to Academy Awards expecting Avengers to win. They just don't, you know.
Fair enough. All right. I was saying the next topic I want to talk about is what's next in terms of a collection. Like, what do you feel about your guys' collection right now? Right. At least personally, because I've been having a lot of thoughts on the collection, and especially the pipeline of watches that I want to buy.
Right.
And I question myself, how much is too much? Right. Because I'm actually facing struggles of having sufficient wrist time to supply to everyone.
Just double wristing.
That's something I hope I wouldn't do. So dear future me, please don't do it. Right. So I really start asking myself, how much is too much? I mean, do I just collect for the sake of collecting right now? Because like certain things like Ming, to be honest, I'm ready to sell the Ming, right? But I want to keep it because it's a Ming, it's a Malaysian brand, it's something I feel like I should keep it. So is that a strong justification enough for me to keep it just for the sake of owning it? It's like a checklist and everything that I'm thinking? Or am I going about this wrong? So that's a question I'm actually asking myself. How much is too much? Right, so I'm not sure. Do you guys face this like this dilemma?
So then I suppose before we answer that, like, what is a collection to you? Is it something that must have risk time, or you can just collect for the sake of collecting?
That's a good point.
Just looking at it.
For me at least, I made it a point to myself that every watch I get will not be. It will. I wouldn't say I would trash it, but I would not baby it as much as I would, right? I used to baby the Datejust, and I've taken out the stickers and everything, and I've worn it as normal. I would try not to be afraid of like changing straps, scratching the case back, and so which just happened just now actually, changing this. So if it's something that I would keep it and not wear it, I'll probably sell it. That's how I feel it. Yeah.
Same. It has to have risk time for me to keep it.
I mean, no, like no shades to anybody that
it's just
they made a watch or like Save Queen it and so on. I do actually have a colleague, current company, you know who you are if you're watching, that. Okay, lack of better words, I would say a bit weird. Right, because he did tell me, it was like, oh yeah, I buy watches, and he only wears his Speedmaster Professional, and he wore his Zenith Defy, and the rest he will buy watches like expensive watches like Vacheron, the remastered driving watches, and he'll buy the Vacheron 56 Phantom, or I can't remember what they call it. He will buy those, and he would just wind it every week to just look at it. He will bring it out and he will look at it. Yeah, so
different satisfaction. Maybe.
I guess. Yeah. So lack of better words, that's why I say it's a bit weird to me, right? To me, just that's the keyword. Yeah.
So I think ultimately for me, the collection, well, however you do it, right, it's supposed to bring you more joy than frustration. I think that's the key to it. So if let's say some of our viewers out there are like they like the idea of collecting, that's why we always advise within your means, right? So it needs to bring you joy to begin with. So if the joy comes from you wearing it, that's the collection for you. I think that was a very good point that you raised, David, that what it means to you, right? To some other people, it could mean just having it in their collection and they get to admire it from time to time. They treat it like art. You don't carry it around, you just leave it as that. For me, it's a mixture. So I will start feeling bad if the more pricey watches don't get worn, because that's where the most of the money is vested. But when I dabble in a lot of the micro brands and all that, I don't feel as bad if let's say I don't wear it as much, because I like them for what they tried to do a bit more. But having said that, also I've also come to a bookend myself. It's like I don't really feel I've seen anything yet that I really want to get already. But I lean back on whether acquiring something new would bring me a new level of joy. So I'm looking out for a watch that does that. That's why I actually said I will stop before this one came out. But when this one came out, I was like, okay, this one scratches an itch I didn't know I had. So I think where you stop is when you feel no longer a sense of like joy trying to get it or pursuing it, or even looking at it doesn't do that anything for you, right? But if every new watch still feels that way, then that's a conundrum that you're gonna have to resolve, I guess.
And it'll probably be a lifelong one.
Yeah,
since there will be always new releases.
And there'll always be new releases. You always feel that you need to do.
Yeah.
So I guess it shouldn't. My advice would be don't do a checklist one, because once you do that, right, the checklist can always get longer. But if you're driven more emotionally about why you like something, it's just like human emotion. You will fall out of love after a while, and then you can move it on. But if it's a checklist thing, then it becomes ideological. Then it goes like, okay, I need one of this and one of that, and that gets tricky because you are pursuing the list. You're not pursuing what it's really speaking to you anymore, right? I think that's my thoughts on it.
Fair.
Yeah.
And one interesting thing as well, since I've in a way got influenced heavily by Woody, or started taking nicer photos. I wouldn't say nice photo, I would say nicer, because the keyword, because it's still far away from
nicer
it.
compared to what your previous
My
photo.
previous photo, nicer compared to my previous photo, right? I can safely say that, right? It actually helps me to do a proper rotation, because I know that I have a shot of this, I have a shot of that, and that's why I start wearing like the things that I didn't really usually wear, like my Bambino and so on, which I've taken some shots of it, and really helps me to ease off my rotation. At least that's my own personal experience, and it actually, in a way, how to say, allows me to re-enjoy the watch. So to me, that's something that I actually experienced the past couple of weeks, which is something that I didn't notice beforehand. How about you, Renee?
I don't know. I also don't have an answer to that. I mean, personally, I try to limit my collection to 7 maximum.
One for each day of the week.
Yeah, one for each day of the week, just to ensure that it gets sufficient rest time.
Yeah.
You know, but even if right now I have like, I exactly have 7 right now.
Yeah. Including the chrono or?
No, not yet.
Yeah.
That's
That's why one has to go there. That's why he's asking for offers on that one.
So, but I mean, even though I have 7 right now, I also don't wear the others as much as I wear the others, right? But I don't know. I mean, like Woody said, you cannot decide, right? Because when something speaks to you, right, you wouldn't know, right? Yeah, like your false bias. If you see something that looks good on you, then sometimes your emotions take over. Right. So I mean, I don't know. I try to value the watches based on their history, complication, and how it wears on me. But I mean, I don't know actually. I don't have any answer in that.
Fair enough.
Probably as long as I can afford it without sacrificing too much of other things, then I think I still continue buying watches.
Alright, so how about this? First thing on the top of your mind, which is the first 2 watches that if your house is on fire, which one would you keep? I would take the...
I think a watch box.
Huh? 2 watches. For some reason...
That's a good point.
Yeah, you can only take 2 for some reason, right? Okay,
I always think of that actually.
Yeah, really?
I always think of that.
For me, the same thing.
But what will I bring? What will I bring home?
I will take the Datejust and the Speedy.
Okay. I'll take the Speedy and the Rolex.
Oh, that's it. Dude. Speedmaster and Black Bay.
Actually, probably, but the close third would be my Stoa.
Stoa, really?
Yeah, I really
Stoa,
love that
eh?
watch.
This one.
Either one of the Black Bay or the Speedmaster.
You pick one.
Black Bay lah.
Black Bay. Really? Oh my god, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I like the Black Bay more.
Okay, fair enough. Woody.
Would be the Zenith and the Reversal.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, not the Speedy. I thought it would be the Speedy too.
It would have, but I realized that because it's always going to be around, right? If I do lose that in a fire, I could still get one, and I actually, and it's also because I like the new one. That's also
there you go.
that's the problem as well.
Oh my.
Yeah, so it would be for me with the Zenith and the Reversal.
And the Zenith will always be special to you.
Yeah, the Zenith will always be special to me because that was the one that I actually made an independent decision without consulting anyone, and I chose that over anything else.
Oh, fair enough.
And that was also the one that started. Actually, although the Speedy started the journey into watches, right? Actually, that's the one that made even other people around me notice watches to begin with, like even the ones close to me. So that one is the one that I'll keep, and the Reversal is just something that I recognize that it works very well for me, even though it doesn't. But it's also something that my wife also says. She always tells this to me. You would not have bought that watch if not for me, right? I said yes, but I don't regret it because of that as well. Yeah. So that's the other one. Although a part of me was saying I probably want to keep one of the old sentimental ones that I have as well. So so that was a tough one. And it's a question I'll change my answer every time you ask me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And speaking of Reversal, there's something in my mind as well, since I placed the deposit for my Reversal. And it's a mono. I was thinking, what would I engrave in it? Engagement date, marriage date, firstborn. If you do have a Reversal, what would you put?
Well, I wouldn't be able to put anything because it's gonna be
Two face.
behind. So I'm sorry. It's not
Okay, change the question. Alright, if you were to engrave something on your watch, which would it be?
Okay.
Between proposal, marriage, firstborn.
I'll probably engrave a symbol rather than a text because it looks nicer while you're wearing it.
Oh,
an image.
That's a good point. An image, like
an
a symbol.
Image, right.
For me, to your point, I would prefer like a text rather than a date. Like a quote or like a word that I really resonate with.
Fair enough.
I would actually agree with that. it would be something that would have played on the aspect of time, and it would just be a phrase or something that I'll just leave there, because my view is ultimately the only person I can think of to pass that watch to would actually be a child, and so that phrase has to mean something to them, like a bit of wisdom that they just turn around and see.
So to me, that's why I'm having a lot of thoughts on this, right? Because I do intend to pass this down to the next generation, and I'm wondering what makes more sense to them, right? If it's like the marriage.
Put your face.
So they can remember how you look like.
Get animal painted as well.
Instead of having a locket, just flip the watch.
I'm not sure if they do it, but to me, I think it's like, alright, engagement date doesn't make sense. They won't care about it. Marriage date maybe, because they will remember where their parents get married. And firstborn as well. Firstborn would be their birthday. I'm not sure if they need a reminder of their birthday. So I was like, I'm actually thinking quite a lot, what do I want to do with it? At this point, I'm going to leave it blank first, of course, because I can't decide. That's why
I feel, I mean, this is our bias answer as well, right? I feel it should be a message you want them to always remember, and you could always leave their name on it. That means you just put their name, and this is like 2-3 words that lasting thing you want to leave them with, that would be very powerful.
Or it could even be the message plus initial.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, with your initials, in fact, it could
exactly. Yeah,
because that's your message to whoever, to whoever leaves that. And if you think about it, the Paul Newman Daytona was actually a message anyway, right? That was engraved on the back of it.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's I think it was a word with drive on it. It's basically I think it was the wife that wrote it and got it engraved for him to basically say drive safely. Yeah, and that's the one that identified and started the whole auction thing going as well. So I think that's a lot more personal, because a number somehow feels cold. But if you leave a piece of wisdom with them, or a personal message with them, or even with your initials, that will always be your message. And no one can take that from you.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Yep. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, if I do decide something, I'll definitely visit the boutique and engrave it. So we'll see. Yeah. Right. I think that's pretty much all the topics we want to cover. Anything that you guys want to bring up? Any last thoughts or anything you want to discuss?
Are you sure you're done for the year?
We're only 1 month away.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. To be fair. Okay. So for those who don't know, I recently got an offer or request to be transferred on my current company to Singapore. Suddenly, the available funds to play with has increased. Right? So that's why I say I was looking at the rate to the Rose Black Bay, right? Because I recognize I do have some spare funds to play with at this point. There was some sign-on bonus and stuff as well, but yeah. So I was like, yeah, maybe, but luckily it was sold out. Otherwise, I actually might have gotten another one. But at this point, I would say no, right? Because there may be a watch which you guys know. I'm not gonna say it now. There may be a watch I may be getting very soon after the reversal. So that
You'll see.
we'll see. Right. Yeah. So
for an episode beyond December.
and that would be a lot to talk about if I do get it. That changes thing. That I think that would be a very interesting one, because that would open a lot of people's eyes on. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess you have no other topics. I think that's it for episode 9. It's an interesting one for us, and hopefully next time Han will be here. Unfortunately, he's taken up a new job and it's very busy. And that's why we have been trying to pursue him to get another watch. So if you do listen to this, this podcast, Han, if you're going to live life miserably in your new company, at least just live miserably with a watch on your wrist.
Oh yeah.
Right. So to the rest of you guys listening, take care, stay safe, and keep enjoying watches, and keep listening to us wherever you are. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Right. Bye.